How's it going, everyone? It's Harvey from Weather Sponge 5000, and in this video, we're going to talk about the next big snowstorm for the Northeast that could bring anywhere between 6 to 12 inches of snow. But first, let's take a look at the latest run of the GFS model right now. And based on what's going on, we do have scattered snow showers throughout the Rocky Mountain ranges in Nevada, Utah, extending into Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, and even as far northwest as Idaho. As right now, the snow showers are relatively light, but they will pick up steam by the time these snow showers approach the Midwest, where it's going to encounter a little bit more instability to work with. Because look at the Southeast right now, there's a strong southerly flow that's definitely bringing the warmer and more humid air mass a little bit further northward. So once this cooler air mass interacts with it, we're going to see plenty more convective activity for this storm system to continue to intensify. So taking a look at what the GFS model is forecasting, we clearly see the snow showers become a little bit more consolidated by the time they approach New Mexico and Colorado, where you could expect anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of snowfall in those areas. So make sure to pay close attention to that in those areas. And then moving forward, the snow showers do become more consolidated. We do see snow showers heavy at times right over the panhandle of Texas and extending into portions of Oklahoma, where again you should expect anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of snowfall. But the snowfall is going to be very narrow. It's going to be over isolated areas, which makes this forecast a little bit more uncertain for Oklahoma, because if this snow area were to move, let's say, 10 to 20 miles to the east, that could make the difference between receiving no snow or potentially up to 3 to 4 inches of snowfall in some of these areas. So watch out for that, especially if you live near Oklahoma City. And the storm system continues to intensify, like I said, because of the plenty of instability we're seeing. And then by the Monday morning time frame, the snow should eventually move into Missouri and then extend throughout the Monday night, and where you should expect 1 to 3 inches of snowfall, including in St. Louis. So watch out for that in that area. And the storm system continues to intensify. Now it's down to 996 millibars, and we see the area of snowfall definitely expand by the time we approach the morning time on Tuesday, where now northern Pennsylvania is involved, Ohio, Indiana, and this snowfall could be heavy at times. Look at the pink shades right over the area of snow showers. That represents snowfall rates anywhere between 2 to 3 inches per hour. So that's plenty of snowfall within a very short time period. And we see that this snowfall will eventually extend throughout the rest of the state of Pennsylvania, including New York City, where New York City could get involved with just very heavy snowfall. It's going to be a little bit of a more difficult forecast for New York City and surrounding areas like northern New Jersey, because depending on where that rain snow line is, that will be determined by the trajectory of the storm system. That will play a big role in terms of how much snowfall accumulation you're going to receive in New York City and surrounding areas. It's very likely New York City will at least receive some type of snowfall from this storm system. The question remains how much snowfall exactly. The computer models have a higher amount of certainty that it will take a trajectory very similar to this. It's not like a couple of days ago where anything really was a possibility with this storm system, where we could maybe seen this storm system move to towards the Midwest, or maybe just move out to sea. Those are out of the realm of possibilities at this point. We're likely going to see a scenario that's going to be very similar to what we're seeing right now. There could certainly be some small changes, and that could mean big. That could be big for some areas right up along the rain snow line, but everywhere else it should be fairly certain, and I'm certain that southern New England will experience a major snowstorm out of this. I find it unlikely you guys will get anything but a major snowstorm in southern New England, so you definitely need to watch out for that, as you should expect a relatively large area of 3 to 6, or potentially 6 to 12 inches of snowfall in portions of southern New England, maybe southern upstate New York, and the Pocono Mountain ranges of Pennsylvania. But what's interesting is that there's a backside to this storm system, where we could see snowfall even in areas as far south as Philadelphia or southern New Jersey. So Philadelphia might not be out of the woods when it comes to accumulating snowfall. It's a bit more uncertain for Philadelphia, if you will. It really all depends on how much snow, on how heavy the snowfall will be on the backside of this storm system. But you definitely need to at least be aware of this over the next few days. Now, in terms of what the European model is stating, the European model is forecasting a fairly similar scenario, which is the reason why I say in today's forecast, the certainty is higher with this storm system. So taking a look at the European model, we see this storm system develops in a very similar fashion, brings snowfall to a lot of the same areas of New Mexico, Colorado, and the Texas Panhandle by the time we approach the Sunday morning time frame, where in these areas you could expect 3 to 6 inches of snowfall. The certainty is very high in those areas. Outside, if you're closer rain snow line, maybe in Oklahoma City and surrounding areas. So definitely at least be aware of that. And then moving forward, we see that this area of snowfall is bringing a fairly similar, or at least the storm system taking a very similar trajectory as well as strength of this storm system, as it seems like the computer models really have gotten a better idea of how much ridging there will be to steer get a good idea of where the storm will be steered towards, as it'll be steered towards an area where much of the coastal Northeast will experience a major snowstorm, more specifically southern New England and potentially as far south as New York City and Philadelphia as well, as it seems pretty certain at this time. And we do see a pretty heavy amount of snowfall on the backside, which is the reason why Philadelphia might not be out of the woods when it comes to accumulating snowfall. And for New York City, I actually think it's more likely than not you will at least receive some sort of accumulating snowfall, but still a question remains on how, because if this storm system is able to move south enough to where it'll be entirely a snow event for New York City, then we could be talking about over 6 inches of snowfall. Just really all depends on the amount of ridging just to the south of this storm system. Here's a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly over the next few days from the GFS model or the European model. If we were to continue to move forward, we do see that there's going to be just enough ridging to steer this to the north, but there's also going to be just enough troughing just to the north of this storm system to be able to weaken this ridge and not only lower the temperatures enough for the coastal Northeast to receive snowfall, but to allow this storm system to move southward enough with a weaker ridge to the point where it would bring snowfall to a lot of the coastal areas, and as that's exactly what happens right here. This takes a track a little bit further southward and allows cities like Boston, New York City to experience snowfall. Now, if this ridge does end up becoming even slightly stronger, then New York City could definitely be maybe receive only around an inch of snow, maybe even less than that. But if this ridge were a little bit weaker than New York City, we could be talking about over 6 inches of snow. And same goes for northern New Jersey, and maybe even Philadelphia could get involved with a little bit more than an inch of snowfall here if we were to see a track further southward where this ridge would be a little bit weaker. So we're definitely going to need to pay close attention to small details with this storm system, because that could be huge in the areas that are close to the rain snow line. But taking a look at the current snowfall forecast from both of the most reliable computer models, so if we were to take a quick look at that, by the time we approach the Tuesday timeframe, we do see the European model is expecting pretty much the entirety of southern New England to experience 6 to 12 inches of snowfall. This includes Boston, this includes the rest of Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, all get involved with 6 to 12 inches of snowfall. But in the areas a little bit further southward, we see that in New York City, it's going to be a very close forecast. They're right on the border between receiving maybe only an inch of snowfall to receiving potentially over 6 to 12 inches of snowfall. And same goes for northern New Jersey, but northern New Jersey would be a little bit more likely to receive closer to 6 inches of snowfall. Now, this is assuming that 1 inch of rain equates to 10 inches of snowfall from the European model's forecast, and that's not always the case. Sometimes the ratio is a little bit different depending on the temperature of when the snow falls, and it's as well as the fact that this is just measuring the amount of snowfall that comes from the sky and not the amount of snowfall that necessarily accumulates on the surface. So it could be a little bit less than what you see right here, but still around the ballpark of what you should expect. Much of Pennsylvania should expect 6 to 12 inches of snowfall. And for Philadelphia, again, very close forecast. You could either receive no snowfall or maybe 3 inches of snow in Philadelphia. And then for the other areas like New Mexico, Colorado, and the Panhandle of Texas, you should expect primarily a large area of 3 to 6 inches of snowfall, and it should impact you guys worse throughout the day on Sunday. And then the higher elevations, maybe a little bit more than that in the more localized areas. When it comes to the GFS's models forecast, we see that there's a pretty stark contrast between how much snowfall accumulation you receive in the Northeast. The GFS model is taking a very aggressive approach with over a foot of snow for much of southern New England, including northern Pennsylvania. But I think that the GFS model is definitely exaggerating the snow totals in this scenario. It should be a little bit less than that. The European model likely will be a little bit more accurate, closer to 6 to 12 inches of snowfall, but in the GFS's model scenario, it still brings the heaviest snowfall right over Long Island, New York City, and northern New Jersey, so definitely watch out for that. As right now, the forecast for New York City should be around 3 inches of snowfall, but it could really go either way. And for northern Pennsylvania, the forecast is fairly certain. Just those along the rain snow line, it's a little bit less certain. But that's it for now, guys, and I thank you guys for watching.